How's it going, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, welcome to the channel. As we get into this installment of Future Friday, sending you a reminder to like and subscribe. I want to get into the habit of getting into saying it early, just so you guys, if you haven't already, can get it done, help support the channel as we continue to grow. We've got the Leomon package facing off against Anubismon, but this Anubismon, as the title does say, is post-Banlist, so obviously, Anubis, the new EX5 one, has been hit already, getting ready for March, so we'll have it at full power for Nationals and EX5 and stuff like that, but I just wanted to take a look into the future and see what this deck would look like once you no longer have access to 4 Anubis. You're not just going to be using it to play Merva, you actually have a little bit more identity. Interestingly, the Leomon package can actually be used in order to get BT4 Anubis to proc over and over again, because you can put an Indomitable / Fortitude body on the board, load an X antibody under it, and then every time it dies, it will then just float back into a new one, load a new X antibody, and you keep the loop going like that. But there's a lot of pieces to make it work, and so far I haven't been finding success with it. But as you all know, I am kind of the Anubis guy in the West, and the Gizmon package is something that I'm very, very fond of. So this is kind of like a mix of the Doghouse and the existing Gizmon package, making a couple of adjustments for the EX5 stuff, of course, because we are looking at a future set, and then only one EX5 Anubis, simply because I don't think the deck does too much. I don't want to play like the full power version only for it to disappear soon. This Bancho Leomon is a huge problem for us because it shrinks everything we've got ahead of time, making things very, very difficult. So we can push up, and you see it makes things pretty awkward for us. We're going to have to play this for 3. You're going to trash a Nidhogg, which gains us 1 back, and we are going to use the mat in order to get 1, and we do draw 1 more off of the Suno egg, which we are on 4 of. Going to use Gizmon 80. And then we're going to go into the blue mirror, which is going to trash off 1 of the dogs and put away the next. Going to gain back 1 memory off of the Dober. And we're going to be finishing that turn on 3. So it could be worse, could be better. We're kind of just hoping that we don't get scooped up. Pretty much a heavy Leomon will kind of own us here. Although swing turn into the level 5, which shrinks by 3, and then because the Digimon went sideways, the Bancho is going to shrink us off, so that whole stack is kind of gone, which is pretty unfortunate, and we're pretty far behind now. Just Ignite's insecurity, nothing major. Yeah, the Bancho, very, very good defensive card as well as offensive card. The 4K shrink, when anything goes sideways, 4K shrink and sec -1 to anything, once something goes sideways for the first time in the turn, all turns, makes it a great defensive card and a great offensive card. Gonna go Declaw just to clear out 1 thing and then play Elaborate in order to search up, but this is pretty much just hoping that something dies in security, but we're not on Rivals Barrage or anything like that, so we are just looking at kind of just moving pieces around. Just kind of got off to a swing too early. It's going to Fortitude, but it will not matter because it is going to, we're going to have Bancho swing for game 1. So game 2, definitely can't keep that opening hand, but we do see the Ignitemon, and Kinkaku is gone. We now are Gaogamon gaming. Just going to go for the choke to 1 because we don't really lose anything from doing it early. And we want to get it out for 1 rather than for 3 in future turns. Just get a little bit of cycle going, get an XT in the trash nice and early. Going to swing in, it's going to hit a Leomon, it is going to live, and then we're just going to choke to 1 with the Ogre once again. Swing this time, gets to do -2k to the Proto, and then when attacking, warp into the grab Leomon, which bottom decks anything that's 4k or less. It is going to float off of Fortitude, and we are going to go into blue mirror for 3. Passes over 2, going to trash a Nidhogg, which gains us back 1 memory, and then the Ogamon gives us back 1 memory. We will then draw 1 off the Suno. And then we're going to go into the 1 of Anubis for 4. And draw. Then we're going to trash up to 3 pieces to then bring back something from trash. It does reduce the cost by 3, and then for each one we get to reduce the cost a little bit more. just trying to figure out what we're going to do. Is we're going to play the Gaogamon for 1, and because a Digimon was played by an effect, we can pop a level 5 or lower or draw 1. So we're basically just playing the Gaogamon for that single cost and then getting back 2 memory off of it. So pretty efficient. Forcing him to play back, bring it back with an agility training just to start searching for pieces. It just shows how powerful the Anubis can be, even without us going for a big combo turn. The fact that we're able to go for a clear because the Fortitude body floated is pretty solid. Popping level 5s is something that this deck kind of struggled with. Really had to work quite hard for it before. Digivolve for 3, draw 2, trash 2, we're going to gain back 2 as well. Double Nidhogg is going to gain us 2 as even further. So we're looking pretty good right now. And we can use the mat, and then we're going to use the Anubis effect to trash 3. And then we're going to bring back the Warrior Siegramon for a cost -6. And then we're going to gain back 2 memory because of the Ignite and the... what's it called? Blue Mirror. Play out a fresh body as well, but he does have the Mimi, so it's not enough to get the turn back. We are set up quite nicely. Leomon gonna swing. He's gonna try and warp into something, so if we do get the Shrink, we're gonna bottom deck the Ignite. Not choosing to go Shrink into Blue Mirror. Does live the check. Mimi send out a new Salamon. And it doesn't look like we have heavy Leomon yet. Yeah, Leomon gonna be used to play. Gonna bring out the Bancho. And then next turn it's gonna be putting it into value. But non-once per turn on Digimon being played by effects. So we're going to trash off 1 to reduce the cost, or by 4, making it a free play, and then Matt goes sideways, gains us the extra memory. We have not claimed the Ginkaku effect to gain the extra memory. We have not claimed the Blue Mirror effect to gain the memory, so we probably should be on 7 off of that, if I've done my maths correctly, because I certainly didn't do it correctly on the day. Then it gets to pop the Leomon. Just reading through that second effect, like I'm looking for the draw, but then realizing that yes, it does indeed pop the Leomon. And then we actually can just pop the Leomon as well, which is pretty silly. But yeah, should be on 7 memory, haven't claimed it yet. Missed 2 draws on the Tsunomon as well, so just you can see, even with like some general pieces, just making a couple of mistakes. Gonna use the Ignitemon to force a pop. We are gonna go into a brand new Blue Mirrormon off of the Digivolve. Can just climb back up. He wasn't sure if I had a second one, but you kind of have to just go for it and see what you can get done. So yeah, we missed out on some memory, didn't end up claiming it back. Missed out on some draws, but it's fine because we got the draw 2. Gonna trash off the Anubismon scatter mode, and then trash off AT because we do have a proto. Now we're gonna realize that yes, there are inherits that we totally did not claim because we are stupid. But we're just going to claim what we've got on board now and just take it as a learning opportunity. But either way, the memory that's still on board is enough for us to go into Anubis for 3, brings out the Proto, draw 1 and trash 1, brings out the Anubismon, get to pop the Leo off of the free play, as well as the pop onto the Leomon. So very solid board clear off of that. And now, everything from trash does have rush. I'm just going to Night Raid it back because we don't actually have the pieces to float. Going to go for it again. I'm going to hit an agility training, and then we're going to hit an X antibody, so we are going to lose turn. Yeah, the Night Raid probably an overextension, considering we did actually have the pieces to just go for game on board. But let's see how Leomon can crack back. Kind of just a showcase of like just how powerful new Anubis can be, and how it does set up quite nicely with old Anubis in its ability, like Anubis being able to float into a body that will proc a second pop or a second draw, and it just means that you can really get going sooner. And of course with the new dog pieces as well, you have more consistent level 4s that can give you the memory gain. Anubismon being hit means you now don't feel guilty about running them. So all in all, the deck is in a good place. We're not running trainings because we don't feel like it. I'm going to go for the Digivolve on the heavy Leomon. He's going to warp for 6 in order to do it because we do have a Digimon with 10k or more. I'm going to Digivolve the Anubismon. And it is going to end up bottom decking the... It's going to end up bottom decking the Blue Mirror, I think. Decent board clear off of that. We don't have the float, so he's managed to bring it back down to 2, but it's not really going to be enough because just need to bring back anything, really. I think Mirror is going to be enough. Gonna go Anubismon into security, and then we're just gonna keep it nice and simple, not throw the game, with Anubis taking us into game 3.
Matrix Digivolution.
How's it going, y'all? I'm not allowed to use toy footage, so here is player ammo. The thing that's been helping support the channel since pretty much the start of Digimon. If you're watching the ads, you want to dodge them next time, consider joining the memberships. But for those of you interested in the thing that keeps me going and shooting these Digimon videos weekly, player ammo. Here it is. It's actually way less sweet than some of the other competitors, which makes it pretty nice for me. Delicioso. But yeah, if you want to support me, you can get 10% off on your order, and yeah. See ya. Game 3 ready to start. We're going to be going for the mulligan, and we are going to be asked to go first, which means we're going to have to slam the gaogamon, which is not ideal. But it looks like both of us are kind of a little bit rough on how things are going here. Both of us dropping our 4s, and he's going to be able to go up to a 5, passing over 3 memory, which is kind of a decent amount of memory to go into. Draw 2, trash 2, going to set up the trash quite nicely, gain back 1, and then we're going to pass over 1 memory with a proto, but we are actually going to get to keep turn, ask nicely for a Nidhogg, but realizing I actually can't float. So instead we're just going to choke to 1 by popping the egg instead, draw 1, trash 1. And we've at least gotten a chip on the board first, especially now that we have the Bancho. We do kind of need as much value out of that as we can. It's going to pass over 2, but we did play a Digimon by an effect, so we gain the memory off of the Blue Mirror, and we are going to draw for turn now. Labra in the back. And then you can see we're probably going to go on the dog engine here. Evo for 2. We could go Blue Mirror here, but I think it might just be worth going for the dog. I mean, I guess the dog's going to be 0 next turn. So maybe we just put out the blocker. If we swing, we know it's going to get shrunk, so instead we're just going to delete it in order to reduce the cost by 6, making it a 3-drop, and we're going to get Flashy Bosch punched. Suspends it. Does -12, and then Bancho Leomon gets to attack, so it's going to shrink off the blocker, and then Bancho Leomon is going to swing into the Anubis, which does get the clear. So a lot of memory passed over, but still manages to make it work. Really, really clean, actually, in the way that he dealt with it. X-Antibody Evo is going to get us the draw and trash 1, and then it can give itself retaliation. I'm going to trash off a Nidhogg, which gives us an extra memory. And then we're going to draw 1 off the Suno. Go into the Warrior Seadramon for 4, which is going to play out the Labramon. Labramon is going to miss its own timing on the Inherit, of course, for not being in the stack, but we're going to trash 1 and then bring back the Anubis. And then Anubis is going to go for 3, play out the Proto, gain back 1 memory off of the Warrior Siegramon, and draw 1, trash 1 means that we'll get the memory off of the Dobemon. We're then going to swing in the Anubismon, lose 4k, but actually no, the 4k is going to shrink off the Labra, and then we're going to swing, because we do still have Retaliation on the stack, and we've gained Rush, so we're going to swing in still without the Anubis, which is then going to float into the Gizmon AT, and just get us a new draw engine going. Like, there was a means of which that we try and do this, where we try and get Rush on the next AT, but it would require him to not shrink off the Labra. Like, he'd have to shrink off the Labra whilst we got the first attack, which I don't think would happen. I think you would just shrink the body that's swinging just to take a chip off the board, even though it guarantees a float. Do have a mat set up quite nicely, and both of us just on Mem Tamers now with at least a rookie in the back. I'm just going to swing in once again. He's going to hit a 7. We are going to float. Bottom deck 2, go into the AT, and then we Labra here. Yeah. Labra, trash off an Ogamon because we don't need it because we're already on Dobrex. And it's going to bring back the Anubis once again. So 2 bodies on board, 1 blocker. Evolve for 2. He doesn't have the shrink here. So he can swing, go into Grap Leomon for 3. He's going to bottom deck the Labra so we can't keep recycling it. And then we are just going to take the block. Nothing to de-digivolve. We actually trade 9 for 9 because he has a plus 2k. But don't need to bottom deck sources in order to play out the Proto, so it's just going to throw it into the Proto. He'd actually passed us to 2 with that Evo, and then tapping the mat is going to send us to 3, even though Matt would have taken us to 3 anyway. Blue Mirror for 3, draw 2, trash the Scatter mode. We've actually been finding the Scatter mode and Eisman at very similar times, which is actually quite helpful. We're going to get rid of an extra Anubis, tap the mat this time to gain back the memory, and then we gain back 1 off of the Dober. Going to swing, it's going to die, not going to float it, instead going to go Anubis, which brings back 2. Go into the Proto, and this should be swing for game. Just making sure we got our memory correctly, because we did the Dober memory too soon, because it's not when a card is trashed, it's actually when a card is played. Draw 1, trash 1 is going to trash off the Eismon, and then that is going to be an extra check to be safe for game. So if you liked what you saw, make sure to tune in for more future Fridays. Thanks again to KBeats for being my testing partner for this, and of course, have yourselves a damn good one.